The tension is rising as the snow falls in this scene, and I still put the book down. When love comes in. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to About Brooke Tyler, where I talk about the books that I read, the things that I write, and the art that I make. And today, I thought I would just do a reading update. If you watched my super long intro video, it's about an hour, then you know that my current read is The Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones, right here. And lo and behold, the cover survived. Just to paraphrase, I mentioned in my first video that whenever I get a hardcover book, I always take the cover off and then I end up losing them. I do that in a bid to protect the cover, and then I'll blink and it's nowhere to be found. You can already see it slipping because I found it and hastily put it back on for this video. So I thought I would just give you an update about where I am on this book. It's been about a week since I started it, and as you can see from my bookmark, I have not gotten far into it. So I kind of want to talk about where I'm at with it, why I'm stuck here, and potentially putting it on pause. Well, not potentially. I think I am going to put it on pause, but I kind of just wanted to go over the reasons why. So, the Buffalo Hunter. The premise is what drew me to it. I'm not going to lie, I probably was heavily influenced as well by TikTok and Book Talk. I have been seeing this book everywhere, this cover everywhere, and I'm also a sucker for a good cover. So it took nothing from me to pick it up. And I don't know. I'm about, let me see exactly where I'm at. I'm 61 pages, less than halfway through. There are a little over 400 pages in here. I've made it to page 61, so I'm nowhere near the halfway mark. The halfway mark would be around 205, I think. And that's where I try to get with my books now. Look, I am a reformed DNFer. It took me no time at all to DNF a book. If I didn't like it in the first 2 paragraphs, I was done. And then my sister called me out on that, and I got really defensive, not gonna lie. So I've made a little pledge to myself to get at least to the halfway point of any books that I start. And if I'm not gripped or entertained by then I can just say I gave it an honest go, and it can disappear on my bookshelf. I don't know if the Buffalo Hunter is going to make it to the halfway part right now. I'm still going to get there. This book isn't exempt from that personal policy, but I think I'm going to put it on pause. So let me just go through a few reasons why I'm putting it on pause. Right now, it's a story within a story within a story. And what I mean by that is that someone finds this journal in the modern age. They give it to the rightful heir, in a sense, and she's reading a recollection from her greatest grandfather, that she calls him in the book. And in his diary, he's being told a story from Good Stab. So it's a little nested, and I typically don't like nested stories, or it takes me a while to get into nested stories. So that's just a personal preference. I did not know that going in there, so that's no knock against the author. And another thing that is kind of going against it, that's not a knock to the author, is that I'm realizing that I have vampire fatigue. I feel like everywhere I look, it's a vampire book, a vampire story, a vampire concept in a song, a vampire TV show, vampire movies. It's everywhere. And again, that one's on me. I should have realized that the vampire thing might make me go, ugh, after a while. So I pushed through that initial hum when I saw that it was a vampire book. So again, nothing on the author, but I'm almost 100 pages in, and I'm just not gripped, which is crazy because the writing is really good. It's right up my alley. It's descriptive in a way that it's easy for me to paint a picture. I'm very visual. Whenever I read something, I immediately try to conjure it up in my mind and it plays like a movie. So it's easy to see the scenes, the setting. Um, so that clicks with me, but it's so verbose. I'm having like a hard time finding my flow or rhythm when I'm reading it. I'm very aware that I'm reading a book, if that makes sense. That might not. Um, but I just can't get lost in it. I can't get pulled into what's actually happening in the narrative. And the characters personally aren't really jumping off the page, except for Good Stab. Um, as soon as we went to his narrative, I was pulled in by him, but it's just not enough. And if I'm going to be frank, I'm bored. I'm 61, 62 pages, whatever I said at the beginning of this video. I'm 61 pages in and I'm not gripped, which it's no fault to the book. It might just be by the time we get to the halfway mark, things are really rolling, things are happening, but it's not happening enough for me to want to flip through. Like for example, where I'm at, it's clearly like the rising action. They've found the vampire. They're taking it up the mountain. There's a growing threat of them running into soldiers who they notice are ahead of them. We are clearly pages, maybe like a chapter or two away from when Good Stab becomes a vampire. The tension is rising as the snow falls in this scene, and I still put the book down. And I haven't picked it up in like 2 days. So even where I know it's supposed to be like creeping up, I'm still right here. So I just have to put it down. I'm gonna give it a break because, like I said, I am gonna come back to it. It's gonna go on my break shelf basically, and I'll give it a month or two and then come back to get to the halfway mark. And if I reach the halfway mark and I'm still not interested, then it just gets lost on my shelf. I might suggest it to a friend. I have a good friend who really likes vampires, and she would actually really enjoy the historical element of this novel because it's very well researched from my view. I don't know much about this time period. I'm far removed from my history lessons, but she has an interest in history, certain aspects of American history, and she can get down with a good vampire story. So I think she would really like this. So I'll probably get to the halfway mark. If I still don't like it, I'll suggest it to her and even give it to her for her to read. But yeah, so the Buffalo Hunter, I'm going to set on my shelf for about a month, and I'm going to move on to another book. I think I'm going to actually might go out and buy something or go look for a few books in my monster genre that I like, something in like the Dean Koontz family, or maybe I'll pick up the second book to Jurassic World. Not Jurassic World, to Jurassic Park, because I read the actual novel, I want to say at the end of 2025, and I really liked the book. Then again, Jurassic Park has a hold on my heart, a mix of nostalgia glasses and just really, really imprinting on the first movie. I ate the trilogy up. Despite my problems with Jurassic World, I watched all of those movies as well. So when I went to read the book and I loved the book, I would love if they actually adapted the book either as a movie or a series if we get those darker tones. But I think all that to say that I think I'll pick up. I think the second book is called Lost World, and I'll give that a read. I just know I kind of want to read something that I know I'm going to like, kind of get me back in the reading mood. So, yeah, unfortunately, Buffalo Hunter x Hunter just isn't clicking with me. I've heard great things. Maybe when I revisit it, I'll get it and I'll run through it. But right now, it's it's really, I'm struggling with the prose. The characters aren't really speaking to me except for Goodstab, which again, 61 pages in, outside of the priest, we've spent the most intimate time with Goodstab, so that makes sense. But yeah, I'm not really invested in the character story, in the overall plot at the moment. And just to sound like a broken record, the prose is just a little too heavy for me right now. So yeah, I'll come back to that. Just wanted to give a quick reading update. And the next time you see me, I will probably show off my other books and then get started on one of those. So thank you for watching.